Hello there and welcome to my reaction to Lethal Company is an Absolute Nightmare featuring Caddicarus, and this is why. I put N there myself, there's just a line, but still. Up is not job, and Caddicarus. I've played Lethal Company a couple of times. Not in co-op, but with not more than one additional person besides myself. So it's a bit of a different experience if you play alone or in 4 people. I wonder if this is gonna be a full lobby or not, or is it just the main guy from Up is Not Jump and Caddicarus? I don't know. We will see. And we will hear what they have to say right now.
Oh, it's a co-op game, but I don't have anyone to play with.
Oh, it is with just 2 of them.
Yes, 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 yes,
This intro makes the most sense now. Because it's a space game.
Lethal Company is a game so popular that everyone's already played it, so I don't know why I'm reviewing it. This game was released by Seekers in October 2023.
It immediately became
first game.
oversaturated. Everything about it.
Has made so many games that it's actually quite hard to work out how many. Steam says 3, but their itch.io lists 8, and that's ignoring their Roblox games, as everyone should. I think this approach as a developer is a good way to go. Fuck releasing one game a decade, where's that gonna get you? Red Dead 1, for example, was infinitely better than Red Dead 2, and yet the first one was released alongside 4 other games, including
I don't disagree, but only because I never played the first Red Dead Redemption.
Infinitely better than Red Dead 2, and yet the first.
And yeah, looking at this is a bit sad. But I feel like there are so many back even in 2010s and stuff, and even in the 2000s, there were not as many developers, and especially there wasn't an indie market in any way, like in indie conglomerate that we have now. Just not annoying, enormous amount of indie developers that make games every single day. So I think AAA games should take a lot of time, and there should be finished before release. That my hot take: the games should be finished before they're released, if they are AAA. Anyway.
The first one was released alongside 4 other games, including whatever these games are, they're too small to see, and L.A. Noire. And that game really was groundbreaking. Remember just trying to work out if someone was lying?
Are you sure you're not?
And there was never a second one.
About anything, sir? Shoot him.
Yet Red Dead Redemption 2 basically destroyed Rockstar for 5 years, and all this just so we could get more character development of our main character, Arthur. An uneducated man in the 1800s.
Destroyed Rockstar for 5 years? I have no idea what that means.
People, but sexism. Oh no, women need my help to vote. Great one, Rockstar. You've perfectly married the ideals of Harold Shipman with the Pankhurst family. What a compelling character. Not to mention there's also a scene where Arthur is visibly confused by racism. This was 1899 America. This is like a modern day person being confused by the concept of the internet.
That was a bit odd.
I think if you are an indie developer, it seems focusing on a simple, solid idea that will take no more than a year to get a stable version out seems like a slightly less soul-crushing approach. I feel like the VR scene embraced this at its core. Think of Beat Saber. I mean, the development time on something so simple couldn't have been more than 3 months. 3 weeks! And it makes sense. All you do in that game is destroy evil cubes.
Yeah, but it's like it was made in 4 weeks because it's kind of simple. You just move the things around, and if you already know how to make VR games, it's probably going to be extremely easy for you to make. But on the other hand, how much gameplay did you have on the release of the game? You can't compare the game that it is now and how it plays now to back then, because right now it's not what was released. Right now is a lot more years of development that went into it since the actual official release.
Your turn, Caddy.
Unlike something like Red Dead Redemption 2, which was released, and since then was only like bug fixed a few times, and that's about it.
Where did you find that?
Come up with a game with a simple setting and a simple primary gameplay loop. Like a single room where you shoot enemies, a single room where you hit balls, or just a game like this. Hello? Yes, we've got the goat, boys! As far as I can make out, Zika spent about a year working on Lethal Company before it was released for early access, but it is far more complex than the games I just talked about.
Yes,
in
it
Lethal
is.
Company, we play as
Also not
employees for a
VR.
company called The Company, and we are tasked to gather scrap from abandoned moons. And although this seems
Pickles.
pretty minimal plot-wise, I think it actually gives you a lot to think about. Given the company's generic name and the fact that everywhere you see is so desolate, it implies that maybe The Company is the only thing left in the entire world. A far-reaching conglomerate.
Well,
like if Amazon
Company
did
and the
everything and
trash.
just admitted it was run by singular tentacle monsters. But why is The Company run by tentacle monsters? I'm not a tentacle monster, and why do they want
Probably.
jars of pickles
You don't
and
know.
Rubik's cubes so badly? Are they so omnipresent that simply everything
Feeds off
has
trash.
value, or are resources so scarce that they desperately need anything? The game has a nice level of intrigue that lets you wonder about what could really be going on as you mindlessly honk your horn incessantly, just waiting for death's sweet grit to take you. The limited plot here works so well because, as I always say, imagination can always think up something far more spooky than a shown reality. And speaking of spooky, this game is scary.
This doesn't seem so bad.
I mean, what helps the game is that it's co-op and that it has roguelike. Not just elements, but the main aspect of it is roguelike, where you run into randomly generated hallways and find randomly generated stuff and maybe killed by randomly generated monsters. Not like more spawn points than actually randomly generating monsters or loot or anything like that. But there's spawn points and however rooms are arranged in that place. And maybe the place itself, sometimes it could be different. All that is RNG, and that helps the game a lot in its replayability, and that's why people still play it even a few months after release. Well, release into... I don't see... Release into early access, god damn
With
it.
a long history of first making Roblox horror games and then Unity horror games, Zekas has been able to effectively make Lethal Company creepy AF.
And speaking of the little girl, it's me, the little girl, and allow me / her
It's
to show
sponsored?
you something I've made.
Okay. Oh,
I
you
recently
made.
announced that I made the Absolute Nightmare box set, a box that you
Ah.
can get right now that includes over 10 different types of completely exclusive Up As Not Jump themed merch. An almost 40-page long glow-in-the-dark booklet written entirely by me. A 64GB USB drive in the shape of a
That's kind of the
wrist
best
computer
thing
that
here.
contains over 3.5 hours of unseen videos written and produced by me. An amazing poster, a beautifully designed weathered cap stash that contains over 10 unique Up As Not Jump themed caps. But no, there's more. A sticker sheet with 7
I'm not that
Up As Not
big of a
Jump
fan
stickers,
of
3
everything,
enamel
but
pins that you can put
like
on
the
your
Fallout theme
favorite
stuff,
little
it's
girl
cool.
Dresses, a large temporary tattoo, 3 recipe cards, and although they haven't even shipped yet, we've already sold a third of them. Yeah, oh my, I can't believe my, thank you all those so much. So act now
That's what
before
you're
the
sending
stocks are
later.
fully decimated by my ghostly ectoplasm. And now let's go back to how scary Lethal Company is.
Lethal Company isn't terrifying, though. Well, I beg to fucking differ. Generally, the horror is built quite subtly and is achieved mostly with clever sound design.
Yeah, the game doesn't really have jump scares. Well, fixed jump scares, like you're not gonna go into the room, into a room and there's a fix, like something jumping onto your screen. No, but you could turn around and scare yourself because there was something behind you. That's kind of a jump scary thing, but it's not programmed in, it's just accidental. It's more builds up on the like atmosphere and then just pretty creepy monsters mostly.
It starts with the game opening to what is, let's face it, a fucking jam.
Yeah.
Great asset to the company. Great asset to the company. Asset to great.
And this upbeat opening is great because it sets in stone that your ship is generally a pretty safe space. And this happy music
Yeah,
teaches
unless
you
that
even when your
happens.
ship first lands on a desolate moon, you get some pretty relaxing atmospheric tunes straight out of Minecraft to start you off. But as you get further from your ship, it all changes, and then you enter a facility. All the music
I mean, it's
stops
okay
and
when
you're
you
left
enter
with
it.
mostly the immersive sounds of the building you're in. And simply put, all the sound design in this game is fucking fantastic. All of
Yeah.
it. From your character's footsteps
good.
to the gentle whirring noises from machinery around some of the facilities. Every sound is just so impactful, and the lack of music makes exploring each map and collecting scarp, I've written scarp, all the more immersive and creepy. Where this game truly shines though is with the monsters that are out to make your scarp collecting journey all the more pants pooping. And while I'll get to how varied and interesting they all are, their sound design is what sells it. Look, I'll play you some. Shut your eyes now and imagine a giant spider. Ready?
Yeah.
Well, I can feel it on my back. There's nothing on me, right?
What?
Because of how horrible this is, Zekas has actually introduced a mode where the bunker spiders are replaced with the word spider. All the monsters have their own very distinctive sounds, so you can work out which one is around you or on top of you. My favorite memory of the game's audio is probably hearing the slow footsteps of the masked enemies. The first time I heard these footsteps, I knew I was totally alone in this house, and yet I heard. Fucking chilling.
Your wife isn't here, right?
No, she's not here today.
It's probably your cat.
What's so great about this situation, though, is this sound
Really,
could easily have convinced me that
probably a
there
lot
was
of work
fellow
into
online player in the
a
next room.
1 second
Fortunately, though,
gag.
we all know what random players online are like. There is almost no way a human player would give off a slow, steady walk like that. So hearing it, I knew to fucking hide. Many of the enemies have ways that you can avoid them like this too. Spiders will leave webs. Snare fleas are visible if you're perceptive. You will always see a bracken's eyes in the dark. And like the masked people, you can hear a lot of the game's enemies before you see them, like Thumpers, the Ghost Girl, and Earth Leviathans. Fuck this game. The thing is, the main activity of this game, which is basically loot score, is to me somewhat boring. What makes this game good for me, though, is outside its great
I shouldn't have put the
atmosphere, is
mask on.
enemies are all
Probably
so
knows that by now.
varied. They range from not that dangerous
Nah, man, I don't think this thing can hurt me.
to the most dangerous beings in existence. See, as part of this review, I was going to say this game is tough but fair, but these guys are not fair. See, each enemy is kind of like a boss monster, in that there's usually
But from them, you can hide inside the ship. I don't think they can get inside in any way or pull you out from the ship.
specific tactic you can use to survive
think.
them.
I don't
My
know.
favorite monster is probably the coil head, which will only approach you when you aren't looking at it, so getting away is pretty easy.
Are you dead?
Snare fleas can be battered off, bunker spiders' webs can be avoided, hoarding bugs can be appeased, you should only glance at brackens, thumpers can be hit at the right time, eyeless dogs are blind, baboon hawks can be shouted at or ganged up on, and circuit bees will always kill me no matter how much I play this fucking game. As soon as you see or hear a specific enemy, you'll have to quickly recall how to deal with them and act. But because this game is so scary, I often just totally panic and forget what to do. Or...
I don't think that was minimal.
Oh, for God's sake! And it isn't just the enemies that spawn that change the
Unless you
momentum
go
of the
into some
gameplay. If you play
rooms,
as a team
like,
of 3 or 4
all
people,
around
there are
and
so
stuff.
many different ways you can approach the way you loot and explore. You can all have flashlights, split up completely, split up into teams, use weapons, use walkie-talkies, leave people on the ship to guide you, be aggressive, be stealthy, use teleporters, stun weapons, radar boosters, jetpacks, guns. But for each item you hold or person you leave behind, there's less space to carry scrap. So many teams I work with don't use any items at all and just wander around in the dark. There are just so many different enemies and tactics that the gameplay is always changing. And because the layout of the levels and the enemies that spawn are basically random, Lethal Company is just filled with those special organic moments that simply can't be planned.
Oh my fuck.
And I will say that although I think the difficulty is
Like
very
all of
well
this,
balanced,
is it modded in any way? There are a lot of monsters in these, like in a lot of moments here that I've never seen. Not just when I played the game, but also when I saw anyone else play the game. It's just an enormous amount.
it does seem that some enemies can unfairly kill you without any warning. Like this moment here when I watched my friend get killed fighting a nutcracker.
I'm on it. I have it.
Eventually I worked up all my courage to finish the job. I grabbed that sign and... Great. Granted, this wouldn't have happened if I had been more aware of my surroundings or not alone. But I feel like the game could offer slightly more warning before it insta-kills you, especially given how difficult it is to deal with a lot of the enemies already. Please forgive me. This also shows
Yeah,
how
you
playing
can't
with
kill
anything
him, I
other
don't
than a
think.
team of 3 or 4 people is basically suicide. I started off thinking I could play the game as a team of 2, but making any real progress that way really isn't much fun. Partly because each quota and the value of script is basically the same regardless of if you have 2, 3, or 4 players. Either way though, due to the inherent design of the game, even if these issues were fixed, playing with 3 or 4 players is by far the most fun way to do it. This is because the way TeamSpeak has been implemented into this game is basically perfect.
There's a monster.
How it works is pretty simple.
Well,
When you're all together,
the way I
you
like
hear
games,
each other, but the
or to
further
play
away you get
games,
from each other, the
Lethal
quieter
Company
your
doesn't really
voices
work with
become,
that.
until eventually you can't hear each other at all. And once a teammate is out of earshot, it's like Schrodinger's cat. They are simultaneously alive and dead, but almost
That is, yeah.
certainly they're dead. And the more players you have, the more fun this system is. Also, the fact that there is no global channel where you can chat with your team at any time is probably the best design choice in the whole game. Because this means when you go off on your own, you feel really, 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 really alone. It makes the walkie-talkie feel like such a sanity lifeline.
Is there anybody?
I mean, yeah, walkie-talkies would help you not to feel alone, but also a lot of locations aren't that big. Again, it's RNG and everything, but a lot of the way it works, it could just make it very small, and even if you, with 4 people, split up somehow in every direction, you could potentially hear each other through walls and stuff, or floor. Like, you're not totally alone. They're also
Overall,
monsters.
then, I think Lethal Company is quite a special thing. The sleeper hit of a solo developer who has spent years pushing the limits of what they can do. See, most small-time horror games of this style will usually just have a few enemies with somewhat similar design. But Lethal Company not only layers over 15 completely different monsters, it has loads of different ways to play, varied levels with day and night, weather effects, stable online play, interesting lore, and the graphics are really great too. The game seems to have some filters applied that give it a stylistic retro effect, not unlike Return of the Obra Dinn. But I think these effects also successfully
That's
hide
one out of my eyes if I ever
low
played that
res
game.
textures, which allows the game to run on less advanced systems while still looking pretty good. Just look how great this spinning fan looks, and this fire, or just enjoy the striking look of the red sun rising in the morning.
Oh, it
That's
really is
bad.
bright.
Did you hear that?
Don't worry. I'll keep us safe. Well, I guess we scared it off. Hello everyone, it's me, the masked little girl. I'm gonna get you. Jesus Christ.
There's
Hello.
barely any
I just wanted
gameplay.
to
I
come
expected
here to tell you
gameplay
that
with
I'm gonna be
Caddicarus, but I don't
streaming
know
Lethal
why.
Company on this channel at Sunday, the 4th of February at some time with Dan Nerd Cubed, Matophobia, and many a true nerd. That's their names. So please come along and watch the stream. It will be here on this channel at this time.
It's less than 2 days.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Great. Okay. So, do you want to do that again? What I'll do, I have a funny
At least they had fun.
lying.
But yeah, I think the game is good. It's not for everyone, as in every single game that's ever made. There's not a single game that's made for everyone. Quantum TV can fuck off with his statement like that. But no buts, that's about it. I don't have anything else to say, so thank you everybody for watching this. I appreciate it a lot. I hope to see you next time, and goodbye. Have a great life. Because one of us has to.